Hello, my friend. I'm so excited to dive into this week's podcast episode for you on this week's astrology. Oh my goodness, this is going to be quite an exciting week. In this week's episode, I'll be diving deep into the new moon and Capricorn chart for you. I will also be interviewing a numerologist on the numerology of 2026. I loved this conversation so much. I can't wait to share it with you. And I'll end off this podcast episode with a tarot reading of what energy to embrace, what energy to let go of. So let's just dive right into it. Starting off with January 12th, we have the Sun in Capricorn in a square to Chiron in Aries. This feels like a very tender, emotional day. There can be an ego battle this day. So this day feels as though some old wounds around your sense of worthiness are coming up to heal right now, especially when it comes to being seen. And this feels as though a situation occurs where maybe you're not fully seeing who you are, or perhaps a relationship is not seeing you in terms of the work you're doing for yourself. And with the Sun in Capricorn in this square to Chiron in Aries, this feels like a work or business situation. It could feel like you're not getting acknowledged in terms of the work you have been doing. It could feel as though perhaps your character has been misrepresented, or you could feel as though, okay, this is not what I intended. So this feels uncomfortable. The square feels as though there's something here that you need to change when it comes to how you see yourself and your identity. It feels like, okay, this is still something I have to heal through. This is still something I need to process, especially when it comes to how you are being seen and recognized. There can be some clashes with bosses or mentors or even parents. This feels like an authority figure. However, I also see this as a potential battle with yourself. So keep this in mind. Really speak kindly to yourself this day. Take care of yourself. Try not to react. This is a day to really ground and recenter. And it's just showing you, okay, this is a wound that I still need to process and heal from. Then on January 13th, we have Mercury in Capricorn opposing Jupiter in Cancer. So this feels like a day where there's a lot of conversations taking place. You could feel a bit overwhelmed by the amount of information you're receiving. You could feel like everyone wants to talk to you this day. You could feel like, okay, this is exciting. I feel as though this is very uplifting in terms of the conversations you're having. However, just be aware that it can make you very overly stimulated. It could feel like, okay, there's just so much to do that it's very hard to focus. This feels like a day where you're in a place where there's just so much on your mind and there's just so many conversations happening that, yes, it can feel exciting, like you can get new ideas, and this can feel very uplifting. However, I want you to ground, recenter. Just know that you might have to circle back to a conversation. Just ask, hey, can we talk about this at a different time? Because there's just so much happening in terms of this. I also see these conversations really focusing on work-related matters, or perhaps even just home and family situations because of Jupiter in Cancer. So keep this in mind. It is more so trying to reassess your sense of work-life balance. Now on January 15th, we have Venus in Capricorn in a sextile to Saturn in Pisces. This feels really lovely. This is so beautiful. This is us really committing to our long-term vision and goals, especially when it comes to our spiritual partnerships or emotional partnerships. So perhaps this is a day where you see a therapist, an astrologer, a tarot reader, someone you really trust. This is the day where you're really committing to something you value, and this will pay off long term. This could also look like you're just making an investment, which is great. This also looks like, okay, there's something that is very stable and grounded when it comes to your relationships and finances. I see this more so as a work situation or a friendship that you can depend on. However, this can also look like a financial situation where you meet with an accountant and they're giving you a good overview and you're witnessing, oh, actually, I made more money this year than I expected. Or it could just be something where you realize, no, I can save for the future, or I can really show a strong relationship that I'm there for them. On the same day, we have Venus in Capricorn in a trine to Uranus in Taurus. So this is also very lovely. This is a day where you could get a sudden surprise when it comes to your finances or relationships. This feels like there's something here where you're getting a big breakthrough around how you've been approaching your finances or relationships and what you kind of need to change in order to make it more stable and grounded for your future. This is very, very supportive. This could feel like, you know, you get a client out of the blue. This could also feel like, okay, you put an investment into something and you're seeing it grow unexpectedly. This could also be more so someone gives you an unexpected gift, perhaps of food because Uranus is in Taurus. This could also just be you see a friend or you get a message from someone and you haven't seen them in a while and it really surprises you, but it makes you feel good in terms of that situation. So that feels really, really lovely. I'm loving the 15th. Now on January 16th, we have Mercury in Capricorn in a square to Chiron in Aries. This is a day of difficult conversations. This is a day where you could feel as though someone is reacting in terms of an ego battle. You could feel like someone is taking out their anger out onto you. This could be a day where you're having some very vulnerable conversations. You could feel as though there's a work situation that you kind of have to explain in a different way. Or perhaps you're in a situation where you're processing something from the past that you're still healing from. And it's coming up right now. So you're having conversations about this and it's re-triggering you, I'm sorry to say. However, the trigger is coming up for you to heal. The trigger is coming up for you to see, okay, I need to remind myself I'm worthy and deserving of what I want. I'm worthy and deserving of what I need. And this can be super, super helpful. So there can be some difficult conversations that take place this day. Keep this in mind. It could just feel like everyone is a little bit on edge. This is not the day to plan a hard conversation if you can avoid it. I would say to plan it a few days later if you can. Yet, honestly, still very, very helpful in terms of processing a difficult situation. Now on January 17th, we have Venus in Capricorn in a sextile to Neptune in Pisces. This feels very beautiful. This feels like there's something here where you're really appreciating more art. Perhaps you're getting a makeover, or perhaps you get a new wardrobe, or you are going to a gallery, for example, and you're appreciating the energy of the space. This feels as though there can still be a spiritual connection that you have with someone that feels very nurturing, that feels very caring and empathetic. You could feel as though you're tuning into something that's more aligned for you when it comes to your values or when it comes to your relationships. So perhaps you meet with certain friends that are more spiritual, or you meet with a mentor that has been guiding you, that you want to work with. This could also be a day where you're in a place of understanding how to align your values in a different way. Perhaps you're receiving downloads around this, but this looks super, super creative. So if you want to make some art, if you want to record content, if you want to do something that allows you to express yourself, this is an amazing day for that. Later this day, Venus enters Aquarius, and this is going to shift what we value in terms of the collective energy. So with Venus in Aquarius, we're going to start to see more people really wanting to connect more in community. We could see that we want to invest more in terms of technology. Venus in Aquarius wants us to understand the bigger picture of how things are connected, especially when it comes to our networks, our dreams, our goals, our ambitions. This is such a lovely day to hang out with friends, to go to a networking event, to go to a goal setting workshop using astrology, which if you're in Toronto, you can check out my event because I am hosting a goal setting using astrology workshop I'll leave more details for that down below if you want to join me in person. But Venus in Aquarius is such a great day for this. What's also happening this day is the sun in Capricorn is in a trine to Uranus in Taurus. So there's something unexpected that happens this day that actually is received quite well. There could be a surprise party, for example. This could look like you get a surprise of food this day. I will say that with Uranus and Taurus, you can get a surprise client this day. This is a day where you're feeling more innovative. You're feeling like you want to do something different and it's more exciting. It feels like you're getting a download or you're getting more inspired to take action in a different way. What's also happening this day is the sun in Capricorn is in a sextile to Saturn in Pisces. So we're feeling really, really good about spiritual partnerships this day. We're feeling good about the structures and systems we have in place for our emotional connections, what this means in terms of the collective energy, our boundaries. We're feeling good about, okay, this is something that I need to really lean on. So maybe this is a day where you call up a friend and you have a really heartfelt conversation. I will say this is very business oriented too. Again, with this stellium in Capricorn, it still feels very work related. I do see that we're understanding which systems and structures we really need to change with the sun in a trine to Uranus in Taurus. So this is a day where we're really understanding, okay, I need to do things differently this year. I need to either go to a protest and do things differently because I want to see that change in the world, or perhaps you want to do things differently in your business. Again, this is very work related. We're trying to understand, how can I connect more with people who have similar values as me? How can I connect more with people who are in a place of wanting that growth, that are consistent and reliable and stable and grounded? That's what we're really valuing when Venus is in Capricorn. And then when Venus enters Aquarius, there's this shift where we're wanting that connection. We're wanting more people that we can have thought-provoking conversations with. Now let's dive into this new moon in Capricorn chart for you, because honestly, I love this new moon in Capricorn energy. This is so lovely. This new moon is happening at 28 degrees of Capricorn. This is a brand new beginning for you when it comes to your systems, your structures, your boundaries, your career, your public image. There are themes around this. It will affect you differently based on your rising and sun sign. However, with a new moon in Capricorn, this is a brand new beginning in terms of structures and systems we're setting up for ourselves. This is a brand new beginning in terms of how you want to approach being a leader. This is a brand new beginning in terms of, okay, how can I remind myself and stay committed to something I want to do in terms of goal setting? The reason why I say this is happening the same day as this new moon in Capricorn is Mercury is conjunct Mars in Capricorn. So we're having more conversations about goals, how we can change our systems and structures, how we can work in a way that's more efficient, how we can work in a way that feels really grounded, very consistent and sustainable. What's really interesting too, this new moon in Capricorn is taking place on January 18th, 2026 at 2:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this really gives us a grounded approach. There is this really beautiful sextile to Saturn in Pisces with this new moon. This is helping us understand how to set intentions for what we want to grow long term. This is why this is so supportive. I will say this is probably one of the best new moons to start our year with. I will say that I'm so excited for this new moon because it's really reminding us, okay, your hard work will pay off if it's aligned. I want to say that if it's aligned work, if it's really consistent and you're in a place where, no, I know this is aligned for me. I know this is emotionally supporting me. This is aligned to my purpose. This is aligned to what I want to be doing on this earth. It will pay off long term. And I say this because not only is the sun and moon in a sextile to Saturn in Pisces, but also Mars and Mercury. So we have this beautiful Capricorn stellium in this sextile to the ruler of this new moon, which is Saturn in Pisces. And this is helping us in terms of understanding, actually, I need to do business differently. Actually, I need to work in a different way. I need to do something that's more meaningful to me. I need to do something that feels more spiritually aligned to me. I need to do something that feels very reliable and consistent. And I need to connect with people who value this. This new moon and the sun, and also Mercury and Mars, are still in this trine to Uranus in Taurus. So we're still getting some really good innovative ideas. We're getting this shakeup when it comes to our systems, our structures, our boundaries. And this can be really helpful. We're trying to see, how can I do things differently? How can I work differently? How can I think bigger? How can I not limit myself and really take the next step in terms of what I want for the future? Venus in Aquarius is also conjunct Pluto in Aquarius during this time. So we're transforming something when it comes to our values and finances, especially when it relates to our community, our dreams, our goals, our networks. This is a day where we're trying to realize, okay, if I set this goal, if I connect with the right people, if I'm in the right environment, that's when I know things are going to change for me. Now, because this new moon is at 28 degrees, rounded up, it is 29 degrees. It's in these final degrees of Capricorn. When I see this as an astrologer, I see this more so as a new beginning in terms of what you've already been doing. This is not a brand new beginning in terms of something that you just started right now. This is more so, how can you do things differently towards a project that you've already been working on? How can you do things differently in terms of a community that you already know or are a part of? This is more so an energy of, okay, I'm going to set these intentions. I'm going to connect with the people that I really trust, that are consistent and there for me. This is a day where, yes, maybe perhaps you've been working really, really hard on something, especially with Mars and Capricorn, and you felt like things were go, go, go with this Capricorn stellium. But now you're starting to see how things pay off. Or you're trying to set intentions so that it does pay off long term, and you're already witnessing the power of this. The thing to be aware of with this new moon is Jupiter is still in the square to Chiron in Aries, and also this Capricorn stellium, Mars, Mercury, the moon, and the sun are still kind of in this square to Chiron in Aries. So there's still some vulnerability here. There's still some sensitivity. This is less of an emotional new moon, but there's still something you're healing from. There's still something here where you're trying to witness and remind yourself, I can be the person I need to be because I already am, right? How have you always been there for yourself? Old wounds, again, around our sense of worthiness are coming up to remind you, yes, maybe it's not about not having to deal with the pain, but maybe it's your reaction to that pain. Perhaps it's more so, I know how to take care of myself in a better way, and I can trust that I can take the right steps or ask for the support I need to get to where I want to go. This is a great new moon for that, especially with Saturn in Pisces, because with Saturn in Pisces as the ruler of this new moon, we have these strong themes around connecting in spiritual partnerships, connecting in emotional partnerships, connecting to the collective energy of, okay, who do I have to be to really feel aligned and structured and taken care of, so I can trust that what I'm building is going to grow long term? Who do I need to connect with for this to take place? And how can I show up for myself in a way that feels so aligned and fulfilling for me? If you want to manifest for this new moon in Capricorn, I am hosting a new moon in Capricorn event with the Moon Sign Creative Community on Monday, January 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Replays are available if you can't make it live, but this is going to be a time when we're doing a powerful new moon in Capricorn ritual to call in what we want for the next 6 months of 2026. And this is the new moon to really join because this is going to be such a powerful manifestation ritual. Members of the community have manifested dream homes, dream trips, more clients, more sales, healthier relationships, more friendships, and so much more. If that speaks to you, I'll leave a link on how to join down below. I can't wait to see you there. If you want to manifest with me and you want that support and help and you want to discover how this new moon is affecting your chart specifically, because I'll definitely help you through this because it will affect you differently based on your rising and sun sign. I'm honestly so excited for this new moon in Capricorn. I think this is the new energy we really need. This is the energy we need to kick off 2026. Again, there's going to be so much change and exciting things happening in 2026. I'll be going through the astrology of 2026 in an upcoming episode, so stay tuned for that. If you've made it this far in the video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and comment down below sunflowers, just so that I know you've made it this far in the video. I also want to share, I have launched my group program for the Boldest You mentorship, which is a combination of astrology, brand strategy, social media strategy, the mindset work, and energetic work to really grow your business in 2026. I'm so excited for this. I'll leave more details on how to join the program down below if you want that support and help from me in terms of growing your business in 2026 using astrology. And this is mainly for you if you've worked with other coaches or mentors and you realize the advice they're giving isn't really specific to your energy. You're realizing, okay, wait, there's something I'm not seeing. Perhaps you know you have some limiting beliefs or blocks and you're not really receiving the amount of clients you want. Or perhaps you're getting clients, you're showing up online, and you're realizing, actually, there's something here that is still blocking me. I don't know how to move through it. Perhaps you're talking yourself out of becoming the person you know you need to become in 2026 to attract those clients, to attract those sales. Yet you need that support and help, and you know this for yourself. You feel like astrology is so true for you. So I'll leave more details on the program down below if you want my help and support, because honestly, the client testimonials from the program have been mind-blowing. For the group option, I'm so excited for it. Doors close for the group mentorship on January 20th. So if you want to join us for this year and you know you want that community support, you know you want to stay accountable, you know you want to lean on that support, and you want my feedback on your marketing content. You want my feedback in terms of your birth chart. You want that feedback in terms of how to grow your business in a sustainable way without the burnout, and how to uncover those limiting beliefs to see, okay, wait, this is something I really need to work on. This is something I can overcome and rewrite and change so you can step into the boldest version of yourself in 2026. I'll leave more details on how to apply down below. And if you apply, there is a free call with me to really understand if it's the right fit for you and your business, especially if it's a wellness or creative business. So I'll leave more details for that down below, and be sure to apply before January 20th if you know that you do want that help and support in 2026 and it feels very aligned for you. Now I'm super excited to dive into the numerology of 2026 and the interview I did with Brandi. Let's get into that.
All right. I am so excited to have Brandi Elizabeth here for this podcast episode in terms of the Moon Sign Insight podcast. I am so excited to talk about the numerology and astrology of 2026. Now, I'm here with Brandi Elizabeth, a numerologist for over a decade in the Denver area. She is a life path 4, which is very earth-centered, similar to her sun sign of Capricorn. She's also Sagittarius rising and Virgo moon. Thank you so much for being here, Brandi.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited that we're finally doing this.
I know. Oh my gosh, we have been talking about this collaboration for quite a few months and we've been planning ahead. So when we finally decided, okay, this is going to be it, I got so excited. And before we kind of dive into the numerology and astrology of 2026, I'd love to hear more about how you first got into numerology.
Sure. So I first discovered numerology before I really knew what numerology was. My mom was a tarot reader, and so I got my first deck when I was around 10 years old. So that was 32 years ago. Wow. Yeah, 32 years ago. So, as you know, if you read tarot, that there's numbers assigned to every card, and you kind of start to notice patterns when you're doing readings. And so that was kind of my first intro into numerology, was just understanding those patterns within tarot. And then around 2013 was when I really got into it and was reading everything I could. And honestly, just reading for other people, even to this day, you start to notice different patterns and cycles in people's charts when you correlate the different numbers to one another. So, yeah, it's just been an ongoing thing for over the past decade.
I love that so much. Oh my goodness. I love that so much. And for myself personally, as a life path nine, I always resonated with being a life path nine once I learned about numerology because for me, I'm like, yep, old soul. This is hard. I've been here before. I've done this. I need to just get clear. So I've had the pleasure of having a reading from you, and it was so eye-opening for myself in terms of learning more about being a life path nine, and it's so intriguing. And I'm kind of just curious before we get into the numerology of 2026, can you explain a little bit about what a life path number is?
So, your life path number, the way to get it is you add up your entire birth date, your month, your day, and your year, and you break it down through one digit, 1 through 9. However, if it's an 11 or a 22, or in the rare case of 33, you keep that double digit. That's considered a master number. But the single digit is really your life path number. And this is the most important number in your entire chart. It's really the core of who you are. And our numerology encompasses all of these skills and talents that you come into this lifetime with. And there is a light side as well as a shadow side to every number as well.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
Hmm.
very similar to a birth chart and the dark side, and more so the strengths of, a certain sign or a certain planet. So I love that you mentioned that aspect of your life path number as well.
For sure. I mean, there's different placements in your chart too, just like your astrology chart. I kind of look at them as like siblings in a way that they kind of fill in the gaps for one another. And if you understand someone's astrology and their numerology, you know them. Like, you can tell everything about them. You can see their cycles, you see their challenges, you know where they excel. You just can look at it and you're just like, I kind of know who you are.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. I totally agree. I'd love to dive into what the numerology of 2026 looks like. What can you tell us about what to expect or some of the major themes of this year ahead?
Yeah, so we are entering a year one, which has been all over the internet. And, I also like to look at the individual numbers of the year as well as the sum before I break it down to one, because there's always a hidden message within those numbers. So, for example, when we look at 2025, 2 and 5 do not mesh well together. They're very opposing energies. And I feel like that was a lot of what 2025 was for a lot of people. Now, when you look at 2026, 2 and 6 are considered the loving, harmonious energies. Like, 2 is a number of intuition and peace and love, but 6 is harmony, it's beauty, it's also aesthetics, it also rules all types of relationships like marriage, family, and 2 also is very relational, one on one relationships. So when you break it down, it breaks down to 10 before it breaks down to 1, which is important because it could be a 19 one, it could be a 28 one, but this is a 10 one. And a lot of people don't talk about the zero in numerology. So the zero is the number of source or God, so it is this number of like infinite potential. And whenever there's a zero in someone's chart or in the year number before we break it down, it's just additional spiritual support, additional intuition. The two's already enhance our intuition, but that zero is really enhancing it. And then it breaks down to 1, which is known as new beginnings. You know that we're moving into the fire horse, which is momentum. But it's new beginnings, but it's also a number of independence. So I do think like politically there could be some things happening there. It's all about feeling really motivated. One is the most motivated number in numerology. So if you have like a one in your chart or you're in a one cycle, it's going to push you to feel more driven and more ambitious, also more competitive. But it's also the number of uniqueness and really being who you are and figuring out what makes you truly unique. And so when we have a world cycle number, it affects everybody. It is the secondary theme for everyone, where like your personal year cycle is the first theme, but it's going to affect everyone, especially if you are a life path one or you have a one somewhere in your chart, like your destiny number or your soul number. Like I said, it affects everyone, but if you have one as a core number, it's going to be amplifying those qualities within your chart.
Oh, I love that so much. Oh my gosh. And just that breakdown and having that relationship between numbers, I think that's so fascinating to me. And it's so funny too, when I look at the astrology of 2026, I think entering a 1 year in numerology, it's so similar to us shifting from Pisces to Aries energy when it comes to Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries in this year. So that's very exciting. And I love that you mentioned like motivated, up for a challenge. That is so, so true to Aries energy. So I love seeing that similarity. And I do think with the astrology that is taking place in 2026, there's a lot of changes, there's a lot of transformation. And I do feel like people are going to start their own thing or really want to do something a bit more passionate or tune into their goals in a new way than perhaps 2025, especially with that shift from Pisces to Aries. So I love that it is kind of being highlighted in terms of the numerology. And I love that you explained the different parts of that and in comparison to 2025, because it makes so much sense. Like it was just a very awkward and comfortable year. And when you mentioned that 2 and 5 don't, it's not as compatible. So there's just this energy where it's a bit uncomfortable. I'm like, yes, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I mean, 5 is a number of change, but on the shadow side, it can bring chaos and conflict and look at everything that was happening in the world, So, and it's not just every year we go through a new year. So it's not just, okay, we're moving into new energy. I mean, everything being in a 9-year cycle, that is a culmination of all of the energy of the last 9 years coming to an end. And think of pregnancy, gestation. You're pregnant for 9 months, right? So think about the year one. It's like a brand new birthing energetically, collectively. We are moving into a brand new 9-year cycle. So what we do collectively and individually in this first year really sets the tone for how the next 9 years go.
I love that. Oh, that's really good to know. And yes, coming out of a 9 year, which is so fascinating to me because again, there's these really big similarities to 9 energy and Pisces energy, even though Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac. It is the last sign of the zodiac. So there's a lot of karmic cycles we're ending. There's a lot of purging with Pisces energy. There's a lot of energy where you could just feel like we're tying up loose ends. And I love that you also mentioned the energy of 0 too, because technically it would be like a 10 and then it's breaking down to a 1. So there's still this lovely support from that godlike energy in terms of 0 that from spirit. So that's so fascinating to me. I'm kind of curious, like, based on what you know about like the numerology and astrology of 2026, what do you feel are the similarities that you also see?
Well, where you mentioned Aries, I think when I think of Aries, I think of like starting. So this is a year of starting. And I don't think, I think when everyone goes into a new year, they're like, I'm going to accomplish all these things. The year one isn't about accomplishing everything. It's about starting things. It doesn't mean you need to finish things. You know what I mean? And as far as the rest of the astrology, I didn't really look too far into it because I know that's your area. But really, I think it's just going to be a new chapter, a major shift, which always makes people uncomfortable. You know what I mean? I definitely think that there could be a lot of political stuff. Because I was looking, and as I was looking into everything happening over the past year, 9 is the number of humanitarian over 2025. But like, look at everything with like Iran, and like, it was just one of the worst humanitarianism types of years because there's a shadow side to everything. So now that we're in the year one, this is more about people stepping up and taking initiative. So I do think that it's going to shift a lot that way. And like I said, 2 and 6 in 2026 are very harmonious, and having that 0, that spiritual support, I do think that it's just going to flow easier this year. I think that, or I hope that there will be less conflict, but there always is. And, also we have like month cycles within every year too. So it brings up different things. But what I will say is that, astrology, I love how it aligns with like the spring equinox, because even though 2026 is a 1, I don't think we wake up and it's like, okay, brand new energy. There is an overlapping of energy. It's always going to be kind of overlapping where the year 9 kind of seeps into the year 1 a bit. And I feel like, especially during winter, it's still time to kind of purge as you're moving into that newness. So and I look at the months of 1, 2, 3, January, February, March. 1, 2, 3 in numerology is like ease and progression and next steps. And then when we get into April, April's a 4, which is planning. So it's really taking your plans and projecting them forward. So I feel like this is all for setting intentions, planning, putting in some effort, but really we're not going to be making big changes and seeing more changes until about mid-year.
Yes. Oh, I love that you mentioned that. And I completely agree too, in terms of, the astrological new year beginning on March 20th with the start of Aries season. And I love that it also corresponds to the numerology of like, okay, we're just taking those steps. We're planning in terms of that. The 4 is all about planning. And I love also what you mentioned about Aries energy too, and the 1 in response to this, because yes, Aries energy wants to just start. It just wants to begin. It wants to do a lot of things. And it might not be the year where you finish a bunch of things. However, as you mentioned too, like when we're kind of thinking of cycles, we also have to kind of consider like we might not feel everything right at the beginning of January. And that's good to keep in mind too. And I was even talking to you about like my personal year cycle of 8, and I'm already seeing some themes as well, but I know it's not going to fully kind of bleed into my life just yet, but I know I'm already seeing these signs. And I also want to mention too, like it's very similar to the solar return chart in terms of astrology, because that in itself is a snapshot of your year, the major themes of your year. So, in terms of that, we kind of can see, okay, this might not start exactly on your birthday, but it can bleed into, within the next few months. And then you start to see it more so afterwards of, oh, these were the major themes. So I love that you also mentioned, like, yes, you might not feel it right away, but you will. And kind of going into that, I'd love to hear just your explanation of what your personal year number is and how do you calculate it?
Sure. So your personal year number is your theme that you enter every single year, and it's different for every single person. So the way you calculate it is you take your birth month plus your birthday plus the world universal number. So in this case, 2026. So my birthday is December 25th. So it's 12 plus 25 plus 2026. It breaks down to an 11, which breaks down to 1 plus 1 equals 2. So I am in a personal year of 2. And, that's the other thing I'll say with this whole new year thing is, let's say you're entering a personal year of 4, which is more about going within, planning. It's less action oriented. So you're going to go off of that, so if you don't feel as motivated to actually go and get things done and start new things, that could be why. So you really want to pay attention to your personal year theme, because that's going to be the prominent theme in your life. And even if you don't know what it is, you're going to start to see things. Like, for example, my personal year of 9, it was like I lost 2 cats. I moved out of my apartment of 6 years. I ended a bunch of contracts. It was just the ending, and it's my challenge number too. So, it brought up a lot of things. But yeah, when you have a personal year cycle, those themes are going to kind of make themselves present.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that you used that example. And thank you for explaining that in case anyone wants to calculate it. I also want to mention that on Brandy's Instagram and Substack, you can kind of see her post that help you kind of break it down if you need a visual of that, because sometimes I need to see the visual of breaking down how to calculate my personal year number. And even what you told me too about a personal year of 7, which I experienced last year in 2025, I just remember feeling like nothing was happening. Like I felt a bit impatient. I felt like it was such a spiritual year where I didn't feel as though there wasn't that much progress. And it's interesting you mentioned too, like, okay, perhaps the year prior, that personal year was kind of bleeding into the year. And then, in a sense, that personal year would then have those major themes. Because at first I was like, oh, actually, a few things happened, but it was more so at the beginning of 2025 where I got monetized on YouTube, but that was within January and February. And I'm like, perhaps my personal year of 6 was bleeding into my personal year of 7. And then after that, I just felt like nothing was kind of progressing in the way I wanted to in terms of that personal year of 7. And I felt like that was a bit frustrating, but I was also feeling like this acceptance around it.
Yeah. Well, I will say January 2025 for you was a personal month of 8, which makes sense with the monetization because there's personal month
Oh,
themes within the year too. So that's the other thing. Don't feel boxed in by your year because, we have windows of opportunity within every month. We're going to hit those cycles. So I know a lot of people want to know about career and love life. And let's say you're in a year that is more introspective, you're still going to have a window of opportunity for that.
I love that so much. Yes, that's a really good reminder because I'm like, yes, it was such an interesting year. And you're right, there were certain months where, there was that monetization in January where it really, really helped me in terms of that on YouTube, which took over 5 years for me. And I'd love for you to kind of explain a little bit more about the different kinds of numbers in someone's numerology chart, because when I got my session with you, it was so eye-opening to know that there's so many different numbers, and it really did help me in terms of understanding more about, okay, this makes so much sense in terms of how I appear online or my challenge number or how to kind of like pay attention to these things in my life. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about um, just a few of the numbers in your numerology chart.
Yeah. So if you think of a sun sign like your life path number, right? It's who you are, but it's not always what other people see. So, for example, we all have an attitude number, right? And this is a number of just kind of our attitude towards people and situations. And it's kind of a first impression that people get of us. And if it is so different from your life path number, people are going to be really surprised when they get to know you. And then you have your soul number, which comes from your name. And this is what you need to really feel fulfilled in your life. So, if, for example, my soul number is a 5, which means I need freedom and travel and fun and different people, different experiences. So, if I'm stuck just sitting at home all the time or doing the same things, I'm not going to feel fulfilled. Even if I'm doing everything else on the highest side of my chart, if I'm neglecting that area, I'm going to feel it. So, very much like astrology, you have different placements and different things. And I will say too, if you've read your life path number description and you're like, I don't know if I really resonate with that, there's a good chance that you might have multiple different numbers. So, someone could be a life path 3, but they might have 4 number 7s in their chart. So they're going to come across as a 7. That 7 is really going to be kind of, I don't want to say competing, but very much leading in with that 3. And they're very different energies. So that can affect not only how you view yourself, but also how other people see you.
Yes. Ooh, I love that. Thank you for explaining that too. And I also remember when I had a session with you that Um, I do appear as a 7, but I'm actually a life path 9. So there is that interesting approach where people do find me, but it just, it does take a bit of time to get to know me personally, and it's not what it appears to be in terms of that. So it's so fascinating to me because I'm like, this rings so true for me personally. And as a life path 9, I deeply resonate with just the aspects of the humanitarian and just not feeling understood by a lot of people. So just the added aspect of the 7 that you mentioned, I'm like, yes, this makes so much sense for my life. So thank you for sharing that. I love that so much. And I remember when I was reading your birth chart too, you have a lot of earth elements as well. Your Virgo moon, your Capricorn sun. And I think it's so interesting how much our birth charts overlap with numerology. And I'm kind of curious, like, if there's anything that you wish people knew more about numerology that maybe they might not have known.
I wish that people would actually take the time to look into it because it is thousands of years old. It predates the Bible. And, mathematics, it's a universal language, it's a science, and 1 plus 1 is always going to equal 2 no matter what. So when you look at your numbers of your chart, you learn a lot about yourself because let's say, for example, you are a life path 3, which is self-expressive, communicative, creative. But let's say you were brought up in an environment of, maybe parents that shut that down or try to silence you. That is going to be something that you're going to carry with you. And so you've never fully expressed yourself. And so let's say you find out you're a life path 3 and you've never gone down the road of trying to be creative or trying to be expressive. You're going to unlock a whole new potential of opportunities and skills and talents that were kind of dormant. So when you learn about your chart, you learn about the things that you're really good at because everyone has a multitude of numbers, but the core numbers in your chart tell you what you're good at, what you excel at, things like that.
Oh, I love that so much. And yeah, I just love the mirroring so much to your birth chart too, because that's so true. Because there are certain aspects, like if you're ignoring a certain planet or a certain aspect in your birth chart, or you have certain placements in the 8th or 12th house, and you're not really recognizing that, then later on, it can feel kind of frustrating. You could feel like you're out of alignment, or you could feel like, okay, these certain situations keep happening to me, and this can feel very frustrating, but it's also an opportunity of, actually, if I'm able to embrace these certain strengths that I've been avoiding or hiding, then I can feel more aligned, or I can feel more at peace. And yeah, I also just love that you brought that up with numerology too, because I feel like there's just so much mirroring between astrology and numerology that I'm like, it just makes so much sense. And also, astrology has been around for thousands of years as well. So it's just so beautiful to have them hand in hand. And yeah, this was so, so insightful, Brandi. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm curious how people can work with you. How can people get a reading from you?
Sure. So if you visit my Instagram, I do have a link to all of my offerings and everything like that. And it's not just charts. I mean, personal year ahead readings, business numerology, address numerology, love compatibility numerology, even if you're single and you want to know what to look for. It really can cover so many things. Also, if you want to change your name, you kind of can change some of the energy that you project. So it's a little different from astrology in that way. Like, yes, you're born with numbers, but you can also add numbers to shift your energy too. So if someone wants to do anything, anything can be customized.
Yes. Ooh, so good to know. And I remember when we had our session together too, you mentioned just changing the energy of my apartment, which really helped me in terms of knowing how I can kind of shift that to make it feel a bit more loving, but also a bit more abundant. And that was really, really fun to kind of look at, to see how I can add numbers and kind of alter that energy. So definitely, if you're watching this, go reach out to Brandi if you're curious about how to do that for yourself. I know you also do tattoo consultations as well.
Yes. So angel number tattoos are very popular, as you know. So I think it's important to consider what numbers you're putting on your body because people just go Google 111 and you get a million different reasons of or explanations of what 111 is. But really, you want to go to the roots of numerology, but also see if it's compatible with your personal numerology. Because just like we can enter challenge cycles and years and months within our personal numerology, same thing with putting a number that might be a challenge on us or a number on our apartment door that might be a challenge to us. So just making sure it's compatible.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. Oh my gosh. And I'm curious if there's anything else that you want to share with people about your practice, about your work.
Yeah, I mean, I think come into it with an open mind for sure. I think it's good to question everything. I think if you don't question anything, then but it's good to come into it with an open mind and learn about yourself. But also when it comes to cycles, I think it's just good to be prepared. It's kind of like astrology too. It's like if it's storming outside, you want to go outside with an umbrella, right? So when you know what's going on for you personally with your numerology and astrology, it just helps you be prepared and to plan.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I think I resonate with that so much too as an astrologer for sure. And I'm kind of curious before we end off, like in terms of your birth chart, what has been the most kind of insightful like placement for you in terms of just knowing that in your birth chart? Because maybe perhaps it was connected to one of your numbers in terms of your numerology chart, or was there something that kind of like showed you, oh, actually, no, this makes sense.
I think so much of it resonates, especially when I look at, for example, like my moon sign and my sun sign, they're so earthy and I'm a 4, which is very earthy. But then I feel like the Sagittarius, which is like fiery and like outgoing, that matches the 1 and 3 energy that I have in my chart. So there's just so much. And I mean, even I can't remember exact specifics, but when you did my astrological chart and we were kind of talking about what was coming up, very much in alignment with my personal year cycles and things like that. So I feel like they always have some sort of commonality and it's not something where you're like, oh, that could relate to anyone. No, it's like really specific, when it comes to the astrology and the numerology. And you definitely see that mirror there.
I love that so much. Oh my gosh. Yeah, thank you so much for just sharing your expertise on this and just sharing all this amazing information. I Please reach out to Brandy if you want a reading, if you want to learn more numerology. I'm going to leave all her links down below. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me, Brandy.
Thank you for having me.
That was such a fantastic interview. Oh my goodness, let me know what you thought of that interview down below. I'd love to hear it. Now, let's dive into your tarot reading for this week. So the first card out is the 8 of Cups. So there's a difficult situation that you're walking away from this week. You could feel like there was something emotionally heavy for you previously this week. You could feel like, oh my gosh, I'm done with this. This is you walking away. This is you just telling yourself, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I'm putting this behind me. I'm not energetically letting this drain me anymore. This is you choosing yourself. This is you listening to your intuition and realizing, I need to leave this behind. This is not filling my cup. And you are also in a place of going towards your passion, going towards what really warms your heart, fulfills you. This is a card where you're kind of understanding more so the meaning behind learning a difficult challenge and really appreciating, actually, I have so much happening in my life. I have so much that is going well in my life. So I'm not going to focus on this energetically draining situation anymore. And I'm trying to move on and move past it. So I see you doing this week, which is amazing. We also got the King of Cups, which I love. So this energetically draining situation really taught you, actually, I know how to take care of myself. I know how to nurture myself. I know how to take care of myself. I know what to do to feel emotionally grounded and stable. The King of Cups wants you to reclaim your power. really remind yourself, actually, I have the emotional support I need. Actually, I'm in a good place to really feel more fulfilled. The King of Cups wants to remind you of your power, especially when it comes to the power of being sensitive, the power of your intuition, and the power of realizing, no, being emotional does not make you weak. Being emotional makes you human. Being emotional is a gift, right? So it's reminding yourself it is a gift to have so much emotion. It is a gift to feel so much. But it's reminding yourself you can feel everything, but don't dwell in those situations. Don't dwell on the hard aspects. Move through it, cry it out if you need to, and remind yourself it's safe for you to feel joy. It's safe for you to feel fulfilled. It's safe for you to really soak in what's available to you. The next card out is the Page of Pentacles reverse. So there's something here where you're not feeling worthy or deserving of receiving. You could feel like it's harder for you to receive the money you want, or you could feel like this week it's still kind of hard for you to ask for what you truly need in terms of a relationship, in terms of a financial situation. Perhaps it's hard for you to sell your services, or perhaps it's hard for you right now, currently, to really witness your worth and how much value you're bringing to the table. May this be in terms of the work you do, or may this be in a relationship that you wish was more committed or you wish would flourish. And this is tricky, this is difficult. However, the Page of Pentacles wants you to go within. Remind yourself you're valuable. Really list it out. List out all the ways you are valuable. List out all the ways that you've helped other people. List all the ways that you've really created a life aligned to your values. How are you showing up aligned to your values every day? And how can you celebrate that? Celebrate that now and remind yourself you are so valuable just as you are. It's okay to want more. It's okay to really feel stable and grounded and secure right now as you are, no matter what your bank account says, no matter which relationships are in your life, you can always be there for yourself. So you are valuable to yourself, and remind yourself of that. Now the challenge this week, we have the Sun card, which is a very interesting challenge. So I see this week as a week where we can get kind of caught up with our ego. We can get caught up with the fun and play. We can get caught up with more so a childish behavior in certain situations. Usually I love the Sun card, yet the challenge with the Sun card is being seen so much that people expect certain things from you, or people aren't really there to see a different side of you. Again, there is that situation this week with our transits where we could have an ego battle this week. So this is a week where you kind of have to tune into your joy, tune into your inner child, nurture your inner child, and remind yourself you're safe to be seen, you're safe to be loved, you're safe to receive, you're safe to have fun, you're safe to feel joy. Remind yourself of this. I asked what would help us with this situation, and we have the Five of Pentacles reverse. So you have to let go of a lack mentality. You need to let go of being so scared of what will happen, being so scared of the future, being so scared of a situation, being so scared of putting yourself out there, that fear that drives you. This is a week where the Five of Pentacles reverse is reminding you, no, you don't have to live in fear. You do not need to live in fear. You do not have to live in the past. Really focus on the present, right? Sometimes we have that fear come up when we live too much in the past, we live too much in the future. But the more you remind yourself you're safe in this present moment, it's safe for you to feel that joy now. It's safe for you to be creative, to express yourself, especially with the Sun card, which is so beautiful, so lovely. This is a week to let go of scarcity, tune into an abundance mindset, surround yourself with people who have that abundance mindset, and that's going to help you grow. That's going to help you flourish, right? And this is a week to really tune into your creativity, which is infinite. It's so abundant. It's so, so fun and abundant. So remind yourself of this. That's going to help you so much this week. I do see themes of our inner child really coming out this week. So I love that aspect for us. Now, your oracle cards are seek inspiration in unusual places. So really do something different this week. Do something different, meet with new people, get creative, read a book that really fascinates you, go to an art gallery, go to a workshop, do something fun. You also got reflect. I love this. Really reflect on the lessons you've learned. Really reflect on actually what is going so well in my life right now. How can I focus on that energy? You also got, it's not a competition. Stop comparing yourself to other people. You don't need to do that anymore. You do not need to do that at all. I will say that. So it's not a competition. We're all on our own life path and journey. Remind yourself of that. So I really hope this helped, friend. Let me know in the comments if that resonates with you and if you want that help and support in your wellness or creative business using astrology for your business in 2026, but also the brand strategy, social media strategy, mindset work, and energetic work, then go check out the Boldest You mentorship program. I'm so excited for the group option for this. This is the first year of the group option. Oh my goodness. Doors close January 20th. Go apply, go check it out if that really speaks to you, if you know you want that help and support and my energy resonates with you, or you feel like, actually, I want to build a business similar to Tati's that is online, that I know I can share my knowledge, my strengths, that I know I can help and impact more people, then go check out the link for that down below, and I'm happy to help and answer any questions you have on that. I'm so excited to work with such amazing Boldest You mentees this year. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited for that. Thank you so much for watching, friend, and just remember, the universe has your back, and with peace and love, take care.